Season of Burnley back in the Premier League, and that means, as we all know, another season of their indeterminate chant that they just get going for like 10-minute spells over and over and over and over again. I've no fucking idea what it is. Play up Burnley. Maybe. Play up Burnley. Could it be that? Don't know. Too far annoying. At half time, I said, I think we're going to win 5-1. They fucking Josh Brownhill had to go and ruin it for us, didn't he? Great result. I did think that we were going to win today. I just had a suspicion. Burnley, like they like to play now. Vincent Kompany has them playing out. And I'm glad that we met them before they just realised that, or before Kompany realises that he really doesn't have the players to play that way in the Premier League, because they would. It felt suicidal, didn't it? That playing the sort of line they were doing against us, it felt pretty mad. Son feasted on that. Hat-trick for Sonny boy. I do think our front three looked a lot more fluid, I'm going to say. Sonny playing centrally, no Richarlison in there. Solomon took a bit of time to get up to speed, and I don't even know if he got fully up to speed. I quite liked a bit of what he was doing. There was some really nice football there, though. Really nice football on show. Annoying to concede to. I know that's being a bit precious, and we know that this Ange system will leave us open to conceding. Their first goal, to be fair, Burnley's first goal was just a very well worked goal. I don't think anyone was to blame for that, personally speaking. I guess if we dial down into it heavily, there's probably someone to blame somewhere along the line. But I just thought it was a nicely made goal, well taken. Second goal, maybe Royale was a bit casual, but that feels harsh as well. I don't know. Everyone was a bit tired. We were winning 5-1 at that point. These things happen, don't they? That will be no doubt the manager's job to ensure that those things don't happen, that we don't concede these kind of goals in the last minutes, closing stages of games like we have done there, because it's all well and good when you do it when you got a 4-goal cushion. It's not so good when you're only winning 1-0. So, and I guess that's the kind of the lens you have to look at it through. But nice football, free flowing. It's just good to go. It's good to. I know, obviously, it's good for Tottenham to win, but it's good to go up to somewhere like Burnley where we can put in these type of performances, or we can have those really fucking frustrating afternoons. And I thought with them going 1-0 up early doors, I was expecting, not expecting, I was just fearing that it may be one of those days. It may be just one of those days where they get that goal and they sit back on it and they really frustrate us. But that wasn't the case. Didn't let our heads drop. They went straight back at it, and the result's brilliant. The result's absolutely fantastic. The first half was, it was much more closely fought, wasn't it? Hard fought. That Romero, I'm not even sure what they were looking for with Romero. I saw the Maddison thing where they were saying he was offside, but how many stages back do you go now for offside? I thought there was some rule where you only could take play back a certain amount of phases of play or something like that before something is offside anymore. So I wasn't even 100% sure on that. And then the commentary I was watching was saying something about maybe being an overzealous challenge from Sarr in the box on one of the Burnley players, and that's actually what they were looking for, not an offside. I don't know, and I don't care, because What a finish from Romero. Don't know where the hell that came from. The wild bull of the Pampas. Like, what a fucking finish. What a goal. Definitely needed that. Lovely. It's lovely to actually have Tottenham go to script, go to the kind of the Hollywood script for once. We're playing that tough game away at Burnley, and it would be nice if we could just get one goal before half time to put us in front. And we get that. And we just build on that very successfully in the second half. It was lovely. Sonny's finish for the first goal as well. Sumptuous. Absolutely delicious. But look, there was a kind of doomsday scenario where these opening few games, Brentford away, United at home, Bournemouth away, Burnley away, some people were predicting that we were going to come away from this run of games lucky to have 3 or 4 points. And here we are sitting second in the table. It's pretty mad. It is very early days. It's very early days. And I think we saw, not only against Fulham, but again later on in the game, when you start changing out a few of that first team, a few of that A team, I think the drop off is pretty big. I think Sarr, obviously I'll talk about players individually in a bit, but I don't think Sarr had his best game today, actually. I don't think Sarr had his best game. But you still really felt it when he came off and Højbjerg was on the pitch. So that's the main concern. And any team is going to worry about, if we lose our best players, we're not going to be as good. I mean, it's kind of standard, isn't it? That's why these people are your best players. But I think with us, it feels a little bit more, I don't know, pointed. Is that the right term? I don't know if pointed's the right turn of phrase for it, really. The difference is stark, is my point, between our A team and our B team. And, that's Ange's job. Ange's there to coach them, to hopefully see that some of these other players on the periphery will be able to come up to the standard he expects from the first teamers. And that's just what we've got to hope for, because we look absolutely brilliant at the moment. We look brilliant, and it's just a relief. I've been all day long. I've just been waiting for the Spurs game. I've been excited again. I even whatever about the Fulham game. We didn't even. I mean, we did lose. I've seen. I was about to say the thing that I've heard people saying all week that I don't actually even buy, which is we didn't actually lose the Fulham game. We drew it and lost on penalties. We lost the game. Come on, let's not do this sort of gymnastics. But we lost the Fulham game, and it was annoying. It was a moment in time. I was annoyed to go out of another cup. But looking ahead to the next game, and I couldn't wait. I'm fucking livid that it's an international break now. It's really annoying. I'm mostly fearful that one of our players is going to pick up an injury. I see Maddison's been called up to the England team, which, I guess is good for him. I think it's good for players' morale, isn't it? But it's just that fear, isn't it, that somebody somewhere is going to pick up an injury and derail a bit of this early promise that we've got going on, because we look really good. We look really, really good. It's really exciting. Obviously, we've got Sheffield United away to come when we get back. I think, is it away? It's away, isn't it? We've got a mad run of away games. Actually, it might be at home, that one, actually, isn't it? Tottenham fixtures. Let's have that. Yeah, it's at home, that one. I was going to say, fuck me, that's a lot. So we've got Sheffield United, which, I mean, you'd hope we can win that one. Then it's the big one, isn't it? Arsenal. Let's just get through the Sheffield United game first, right? Let's get through the Sheffield United game. But all I'm going to say is, I don't think Arsenal will be relishing playing this Tottenham team at the moment. I mean, maybe they will. Maybe they'll be looking forward to how openly we are, how openly we play, and they may see a chance there to exploit any of the gaps we leave in behind. But I don't know. I think we just look very good, don't we? We look very good. Some absolutely delicious football in that second half. Just pure magic, knocking the ball about, people working for one another. Right? I mean, just the stuff I've already been saying in the past few episodes. Like people moving for one another. There being a clear plan there. Players all giving a shit. It's pretty mad. Like James Maddison is such a leader on the pitch. Basuma, leader on the pitch. Sonny, leader on the pitch. Destiny Udogie, I mean, he's a kid, but he's one of the leaders on the pitch. Romero, Van der Ven, these type of, I guess this profile that we keep hearing about of Postecoglou players, you suddenly see it. Because it seems so mad. I would say in particular, Maddison, Basuma, Udogie, Van der Ven, Romero, Vicario, in particular, have this kind of, I don't know what you would call it, just like elite alpha mentality. Porro, he's pretty kind of mad on his, on his game. I don't know what I was meant to be saying there, but he's very passionate, isn't he? You see him sometimes like kicking off when things don't go his way and all that type of thing. Like he really gets into it. It's just very exciting. It's very, very exciting, and it's not alien. Because it feels a bit alien because it's been a good few years since we've been anywhere close to this type of level. It's just astonishing that we've managed to get back here this quickly. And I think it is a bit of it's a kind of dark cloud over things, isn't it? This idea that, if we do pick up a couple of injuries, we do have this drop off, but I think for now we just got to go with it, don't we? We just got to ride this wave and enjoy every minute of it, and just see what happens. Players do step up. Heroes come in all shapes and sizes. You never know where they're gonna crop up from. So, I think we got a lot to look forward to here. We got Brennan Johnson to add to the mix here as well, who is a sign that I'm actually quite happy about. I think he looks... I'll be honest, I didn't know an awful lot about the guy before we were really linked with him. Funnily enough, I didn't realise he's the guy that kicked Richarlison the other year as well when he was doing the keepy uppies against Forest that seemed to kind of boil the piss of the entirety of the media. But he's from the kind of compilations and stuff I've watched since, he seems quick, he seems direct, he's young, he's got an eye for goal. Some of his finishes are very nice from a decent tight angle, dispatches it well. It's nice to have a young player again who clearly has a high ceiling. I know there's a big price tag on there, but I think the homegrown tax is a thing. People have spoken about this, the homegrown tax. I think that is probably a thing. And it is what it is. It's not my money, is it? It's not our money. I mean, it sort of is, in a way. The money we put into the club in the various different ways we do it, but still, whatever. It's a decent player. I'm being surprised. I have been surprised by the sort of level of negativity that's met the Brennan Johnson from various different quarters. Actually, I've seen various different sectors. There's like an interesting Venn diagram of various different people with the overlap being skeptical about the Brennan Johnson deal. But I mean, in terms of the money, football is just warped now. The figures and everything like that in football are pretty warped. Don't think we need to concern ourselves too much with that. I just think it's an investment in a young player. An investment that, importantly as well, what I failed to mention thus far, is that the manager really wants him. It's an investment in a player that the manager really, really wants. And we've gone out and spent the money, and that's that. I mean, yeah, I think I probably would like to have seen us sign another number 9, another striker, a focal point. But from what I understand, Johnson can play in a similar role. Sonny today has played that role perfectly, and we still got hope that there's, some hope for Richarlison in there. Probably a bit more defensive cover would have been nice off the bat, but look, whatever. I don't want to get into the transfer window right now. It is what it is. It's gone. Today, we've gone away. We scored 5 goals away from home, like at Burnley. Yes, they're not the Burnley of old. They try to play football now for the meantime anyway. It's historically not been the happiest hunting ground for us, has it, Burnley? So I'll take that one, even if it did mean listening to Bale for more than I would have liked to have. Does anybody know what it is? Play up Burnley. I'm guessing it's play up Burnley. Play up Burnley. Is it? Maybe? Don't know. I just say Bale. Yeah. Fuck, man. 5-2. It's one of those, because we just went on that mad little run in the middle of the game. What is it? So the goals coming in the 54th, 63rd and 66th minute. We just kind of blew them away, didn't we? And then when the games are always a bit funny after that, the way they sort of settle down into this place of like, oh, fuck, there's still like 20 minutes of this one left. Enough time for us to... And I know this is that old trope of, you're not Spurs unless, but come on, there must have been a few of you as well that were sat there thinking like, are we still gonna fuck this somehow? It's only the fact that Brownhill got it on the 94th minute. I was like, nah. I mean, it was that thought in my head of like, maybe they'll get a third now, and then suddenly they'll get all excited, and then it would just disappear again. But I was more worried about that just from the perspective of not that we were going to somehow lose that game in the 94th minute. I think it was 94th of 96 minutes. I was more worried about it just from the perspective that we may just ship a couple of goals, and we don't want to be doing that right now. We want to be in a place where we're shoring up our defence. We're not leaking goals. We're not getting rattled. We're not taking our eye off of it. We're not forgetting the way we're supposed to play. And that was kind of my fear. And I think we did all right. Like I said, I think their first goal was all right. Is it Foster who scored for them? I think that was an all right goal. Nice finish. Second goal was a decent enough finish. I mean, again, there could be the case made that it kind of came off Van der Ven a bit, which he seems to be a bit cursed in that respect, doesn't he? But he's, just fucking, let's have it. Beating Burnley it's always a nice one, because they're just one of those weird teams that I don't think they just hate Spurs, actually, to be fair. I think Burnley just hate everyone. I think Burnley hate themselves and they hate everyone else. And they're just that type of team. But I never enjoy playing this lot. I never do. I never kind of think, oh, right, this will be a piece of piss. So, let's have it. If you can hear, by the way, I am still dog-cat sitting, and there's a little cat here, Elliot, who has been... Can you hear him? He only seems to talk when I'm talking. He starts shouting at me. I think he wants me to shut up, but he got run over, and he's recovering at the moment. And he's a bit cranky because, he wants to get out of the house, but he can't. He's got to be shut in at the moment while he recovers, and he hates it. He absolutely hates it. And he just, he won't shut up sometimes. It's hard. It's hard work. Poor me, feel for me. Nice cat, though. Let's do the players. Let's go through the players. So, Vicario, don't think he could have done much for either goal. I think that's just the way it is sometimes. He's, it's like night and day from the player he was when there were some initial fears over him. He looks a lot more assured now. He looks, again, like got command of his box, and some of his saves are brilliant. He pulled off, I think it was another Foster shot in the second half, maybe. I think he pulled off another very, very good save there. His distribution's pretty decent. I just like him. He's a good goalkeeper. I think he's a very good goalkeeper. Very solid. Nice. Nice. We didn't seem to ship off Hugo Lloris this window, did we? Which is a bit weird. I guess we'll just terminate his contract, which seems like quite a sort of sad way for him to go, really, doesn't it? It does just feel like he maybe has a slightly, I don't know, delusional idea of what his ability is now and what what he should be able to command within the game. I guess, is he still France's number one? That's maybe got to count for something, but when Lazio don't want you as their number one, and I say that just from the perspective of, I hate Lazio. I don't have any respect for them at all, but I just say it from the respect of they're a third tier European side now, really. They don't want you as their number one. I think you maybe need to take a hint, don't you, mate? It was interesting. I think Nice came back for him at the end of the window as well. I heard that, I don't know, because it's the end of the transfer window. You got a lot of stuff coming, flying about and all this type of thing. You don't really know what's true and what's not. But I did see that apparently, I think Nice came back in for Hugo, but it didn't happen, obviously. But I'd assume that we'll just end up terminating his contract. I don't know. Pedro Porro, I actually thought he was pretty good today. I thought Porro was decent. I don't really know whether or not he got caught out for the first one. I'm not sure. I feel like Burnley it was a good move, well executed, well worked. They got the better of us on that occasion, and that's just what happens. But I thought Porro was solid for most of the game. I think his athleticism is an asset to this system. I think his passion, his determination is an asset to probably any system, any team. Solid player. I'm warming to him a lot. I am warming on him a lot. I still don't know if he's ideal for this system. I don't know if he's the ideal Ange Postecoglou player, but what I will say is that right now, at least, he's definitely trying his best to be as good as he can be for this system. And he's a young player, Nothing is set in stone. These guys are athletes. These guys are motivated winners and all this type of thing. If there's a way in which he can gain an advantage and stay playing and be the number one for that position, you got to back him to take that. And let's just hope he can continue to grow and improve within this system with Postecoglou's coaching, and then we'll be laughing because we've seen when we bloody played Sporting last year, he was absolutely fantastic against us. It's partly you'd assume what convinced us to splash the cash on him. So yeah, decent. Christian Romero, I thought was solid today. Again, it's a type of game where the crowd are sort of on the wind up. They hate everyone else. It's a sort of game where you can imagine him losing his head a bit, especially we conceded early, where he starts to get a bit frustrated, a bit petulant, but he managed to keep it together. He put in some very, very decent tackles. As I've sort of said previously, I think his physicality is an absolute, gift for Ange Postecoglou. He was very, very good. He was very, very good today, and what a goal! What a goal from him! Absolutely outstanding. What a finish! No idea where that had come from, to be honest, but he was brilliant. Mickey van der Ven, great as well. It's funny, isn't it? He is. I find him Vertonghen-like. With I mean, a level of physicality that I don't think Vertonghen had. But Vertonghen was a bit of an athlete, man. Like, he was. It's not as quick as Van der Ven, but he was still pretty nimble, I always thought, of Vertonghen. He was silky. And there's a touch of that to Van der Ven, which is really nice. Like, he's a really good player. He's a really good player. I think everybody, really, when we were dealt those options, the potentials of Tapsoba or Van der Ven before the start of the season, 9 out of 10 people, I think, were saying, Tapsoba, based on not an awful lot. From the bits I'd seen, from the few statistical kind of pie charty things I'd seen flying about, and from a couple of highlight reels I watched, I wanted Tapsoba. I thought he looked stronger, but Van der Ven has really surprised me. Again, he was really, really solid today. Really solid, really decent performance, I thought. Great to see. Destiny Udogie. I mean, I've gone on about him before, and I continue to say the same stuff. But he's just a sensation. He's an absolute sensation. I can't quite believe how good he is. I said on Twitter that he's too good for us, and fucking I got called a weirdo or something like that. It's not that fucking weird, is it? I'm not saying that sort of some self-flagellation. I'm just saying he looks like the type of player that would improve anybody. He looks like the type of player that walks into Real Madrid's team. That's the point I'm trying to make when I say he's too good for us. I'm fucking happy to have him. I'm not trying to get rid of him. I'm just saying he's very, very, very good. I think he makes Manchester City a better team. They've just won the fucking treble. I think he's that good. I think he is unbelievable. What a talent. What a talent. He's got the lot, hasn't he? He's absolutely got the lot. He's got, speed. He's got technical ability. He's got strength. I mean, he's dare I say it, he's sort of Bale-esque at times. I do wonder if we'll see him playing kind of further up the pitch later on in his career, but he's such an unbelievable player. I can't quite believe he's ours. I can't quite believe that he's at this level already, that he's come from, Udinese, going to be one of these players that, okay, we might have to give a bit of time. We've kind of seen how it's gone with, Reguilon, with Sessegnon. Maybe he'll be competing with one of those two to see who will play left back. But he just, from the very start, I know it's just pre-season, whatever. But even just from pre-season, you could just see he was class. It was the same with Dele. When we started bringing Dele in pre-season, and we were thinking, okay, this kid will be good in a couple of years' time. And then you just saw him again, nutmeg Luka Modric and just playing in that Real Madrid game. You're like, okay, this Dele lad he's ready. You can just tell he's good. He knows he should be there, and he's good enough to be there. He backs himself. The same with the doggy. He's clearly a very special player. I'm just delighted he's ours. Pape Matar, I love him. I love Pape Matar. I was talking to a couple of I won't name them just in case they don't want to be called negative or something. But I was talking to a couple of my mates the other day who were kind of a bit like, I'm not really that big on, because we were talking about Sarr and Basuma going to the AFCON. I said, well, who is it? Who plays? If be like a coming back from injury Bentancur, or then you're looking at Højbjerg and Skip. Which doesn't sound quite as nice, does it really? They were both a bit like, I just don't really rate Skip anymore, I just don't really rate him. And the thing is, I was saying, I think it's slightly unfair, because I do still think Skip is very solid. I think he's a decent player. I think he is the player that every squad needs. Not only is he homegrown, but I just think he's, steady Eddie. He's not particularly flashy. His goal against Chelsea last year was pretty decent, pretty flashy, but he's not a particularly flashy player. He just kind of gets on with it. But I think it's just the fact that he's been grouped with Pape Matar for so long, the two of them, who's going to make the breakthrough out of these two? They're kind of interchangeable. Hopefully one of them will kick on. And Pape Matar has just kicked on. I mean, he's just, I think the fact he is at such another level to Oliver Skipp kind of downplays, I guess, I think Skip's qualities. But Sarr is just, he's good. I do have to say, I do think today he was actually a bit sloppy at times. I don't think it was his best performance. He picked up that yellow card for kind of throwing the ball behind him. It's the rules now. I mean, he's a young player. These things are going to happen. I think the rule is pretty mad, to be honest. I think it's silly. Whatever. It's a part of football that has not bothered anybody for forever. It's fine. The fact that carries the same punishment as stopping an opposition breakaway purposefully, both a yellow card, make it make sense for me. It's just a bit silly. But it's not even that. I'm not really that arsed. Like I say, he's a young player. If he's going to be a bit petulant here and there, fine. These are the years that he learns to kind of iron that stuff out of his game. I do just think at times, maybe a little bit today, I think there were a couple of times I noticed his positioning felt a little bit wonky, if you like, and sometimes his passing was a little bit astray. But for the most part, it was very good. That's just me kind of splitting hairs. And it's in comparison to some of his other performances. I'm just saying, I just think he wasn't quite at the level he's been at for the past couple of games. But I mean, he's an astonishingly good young player, I think. And nobody's still gotten back to me. Nobody's gotten back to me on whether or not anyone else agrees that he's kind of in a similar mould to somebody like Bentancur, because I really do feel that. I really do feel that there's a nice interchange there. Similar-ish profile, I think. If anything, I think what Sarr's got more so than Bentancur is that ability to kind of run at the opposition. There's an almost box-to-box quality about him, where he makes those driving runs. And he's getting on the end of it. Sarr might be a decent one for fantasy football. He might get a decent amount of kind of assists, even if they are like Tom Carroll type assists and goals. He seems to like having a shot. He seems to like getting up the pitch and having a shot. And I absolutely love that in a midfielder. I absolutely love that. It feels like that's one of those kind of almost dying arts from midfielders, that they are there to, be these kind of facilitators of play, not somebody that just can twat a ball when they fancy it every now and again. I mean, that used to be like, Naughty's Premier League style, where you just get someone like, Michael Essien or whatever, just running it up the pitch and twatting one from about 40 yards. That type of football does seem to be dying out a bit now. Like I say, it's more about these guys moving the ball, moving it out for the wingers, shielding the defenders, all this type of stuff. But it is nice to see still that you've got these, a young player like Pape Matar that hasn't lost the age-old art of just having it, twatting one at goal. Yves Bissouma, I just thought was his same brilliant, solid self today. I just think he's, what can we say about the guy that hasn't already been said? What was Antonio Conte thinking? He's a very good player. He's very, very solid. I think he's going to start becoming one of those players that maybe people start saying, well, I don't really see what he does. I'm not really realise what he did today, because he's so brilliant all the time that how good he is might get normalised. But I think he's walked into this midfield and suddenly made us look so much more solid. Because I think this is one of my main takeaways from the past, from all of these Premier League games we've had so far, is that we do look in control of matches, and we look so much more settled. We look so much more composed in our play, both defensively and attacking. Even when we went 1-0 down early doors against Burnley, we didn't start to panic. we didn't kind of lose our heads. We didn't start, forgetting our game plan or anything like that. And some of this is down to a lot of this is down to the coaching, obviously, the values and the way in which Ange Postecoglou wants us to play. But I do think players like Basuma really help with this as well. Basuma, who just seems to have such a steady head on, who seems to be, like I say, a leader, not only a leader on the pitch, but one of our best players as well. It's always, it's a heady mix, that, and it's I think allowing Spurs to play with a level of confidence that we haven't done for quite a few years. Dare I say, we haven't done since we had Dembele and Wanyama in that midfield. That was kind of the last time I think I've seen Spurs actually just look comfortable and like, yeah, we're the better team here. Because I feel that for the past years, and I reckon probably even in the last year of Pochettino's reign, okay, we had that mad run at Ajax, but we were just the underdogs making our way through in that one. It felt almost like a 2.0 version of the Harry Redknapp run in the Champions League, where we were those plucky underdogs making our way through the competition. Prior to that, I think we've looked better at times and we'd come undone. I throw back to maybe, I think it's 2017-18 when we had that kind of, that similar-ish Nike kit to what we've got now, all white with the little kind of thing there, where we think we got knocked out by Juventus in the end. No, we didn't get knocked out by Juventus in that one. That was the year before, wasn't it? We got knocked out by Juventus the year before, and then did we have them in the group stages the year after? And we drew with them at the Stadio della. Let me have a look at this now. Either way, I think in that season we looked, 2018. Yeah, that's the year we lost to Juventus. That's fucking shit, wasn't it? That was well annoying. But I feel that time, we had players like Dembele there, after, the 16-17 season as well, where we just looked good. We looked good. We looked like a strong team. When we did win games, it wasn't this kind of panicked, we've got a goal, let's hang on to it, like we've actually had for the past 2-3 years now, be it Mourinho, be it Nuno Espirito Santo, be it Antonio Conte. I know their type of football has meant that chances are such a premium, that Spurs goals are at such a premium, but still we never particularly felt that assured or that comfortable. And I just really, this is one of the main things about this Tottenham team so far. We do play some lovely fluid football. We are playing with a lot of confidence. Our first 11 is very strong. It is very good. And I don't think what I have been saying about this, the midfield and what I'm about to say, really undermines any of that. But I think what really shines for me, most of all, like I say, is just this solidity to what it is that we do. To everything that we do. And I think so much of this, really, in short, too long didn't read, comes from Yves Bissouma, who I just think is brilliant. I think he's a masterful player. I feel very lucky to have him. I think he's a wonderful, wonderful footballer. Dejan Kulusevski, I thought he was good today. I thought he was okay. If I was to be a little bit not pedantic, but again, if I was to really sort of narrow down on him, maybe some of his plays are a little predictable. I think there's something about him that, he's lacking a bit of spark at the moment. He's lacking a bit of just that extra little bit of verve. But even in light of that, even without that, I think Kulusevski is still a very solid player. He's an absolute handful for the opposition. He's a very intelligent player. He reads the game so nicely, whether it's about him moving into space to receive a pass or watching what his teammates are doing to pick out a pass, or at least try his best to pick out a pass. I do think he's a very solid player. I just think we've already seen, so I can comfortably say I know he's capable of more. And with that being the case, performances like today where he's not really done anything wrong, he's actually been good, he's been solid. There's just that bit of him where just in the back of my head, there's just that little feeling like I'd like to see a bit more from him because I know he's capable of more. That's what I'd say. But I think he was good today. I do think he was good. I think he's very, I think he's a brilliant player. Manos Solomon, it's funny, I think it's going to take him a bit of time to get up to speed because I think maybe in the early stages he seemed a bit all over the place. He was overhitting his passes. He overhit that one pass to Maddison, and Maddison was fucking fuming. It was really livid with him. But he works really hard. He's so quick. The way he carries the ball is, an asset to the team. He laid off the ball very nicely for Sonny's goal, wasn't it? I think it was Sonny's first goal. Don't know if he got any more assists in there as well, actually. I'm not 100% if he did or not. But he I think overall he had a good performance. I think he was good. I don't think he was brilliant. I don't think he was bad. I do seem to see him attract a fair amount of criticism, I would say, more than praise. But I think he's decent. I've liked what I've seen from him so far. And I think today, the front four, I should say, really, is as fluid as I've seen it. It's not just because we scored 5 goals, but I think for moments in this game we were brilliant. We were really, really good, and I think Solomon, you have to give him his dues. I think he contributed to that. James Maddison, I mean, number one, what a goal! Like, what a goal! It's exactly the sort of thing we've been expecting from him. It's the sort of thing we've seen him do. It's the sort of thing that led me to think he was a bit of a match of the day player. But there's just so much more to his game, isn't there? There's so much more to his game than just like the old flashy goal. He is the creative fulcrum of the team now. He just seems to be a doggy as well, actually. This is one thing I think I missed out on what I was saying about a doggy, but with James Maddison as well, he seems to be everywhere all the time, especially in the attacking part of the pitch. He works so hard, and he's just always there, providing that kind of vessel for the play to be switched, for other people to run in from behind and overlap and make a pass to them. A doggy in particular is somebody that seems to do that quite a lot. And Maddison is he's got that. He did it a couple of times today. He's got this beautiful, beautiful knack of selling across all the time, and then sending the defender for a hot dog, as they say. He's got a lovely knack of doing that. His ball control's so nice, and he just, like I was saying after the last match, he just reads the play so beautifully. He is in two places at the same time. He's beating his man, and he's already thinking about what he's going to do with it next move. He's a glorious, glorious player. I know it's early days, but honestly, I mean, dare I say, I think he's maybe better than Eriksen ever was. Like, for us, I actually, let's hold fire on that, because Eriksen showed up in some very big games for us, and Eriksen played at a very consistent high level for a long time for us. So, I think Maddison has a way to go before I can really say that as definitive. But I think from what we're seeing so far, the way in which he can control a game almost. I don't know if I ever saw that kind of thing from Eriksen. Maddison has really stepped up since Kane has gone. And I mean, they played a couple of games together. But for Maddison to come into this environment, come into a new team and assert himself as one of the top dogs is impressive. It's impressive. And he's a phenomenal... I mean, it looks... I know Ange had a laugh about it, saying in what world is 45 million bucks? I think he said bucks, and then corrected himself to pounds. In what world is 45 million a bargain? But, it is. Come on, man. Like, when we're seeing some of the figures that are flying around this summer, to know that we got James Maddison for 45 mil is pretty astonishing. A fantastic player. Heung-min Son, I've been saying for the past few weeks that I've liked the position he's been occupying on the pitch, playing on that wing, being some sort of creative force for the team. But what we saw today from Sonny was Sonny at his goal scoring best, wasn't it? He's such a ruthless finisher, man. When he's got his confidence, when he's got the wind in his sails like he has today, I don't know if there's many better finishers in the game. I honestly don't. Sonny has a knack for scoring just those beautiful, rifled, arrowed goals, which is ironic because his first goal was that beautiful, dinked little chip over the keeper, which was just so instinctive. It just came to him just in an instant to just do that. Executed it perfectly. Delightful. Hat-trick isn't, is nothing short of what he deserved. Seeing there were some fears, weren't there, last year that he'd lost a yard of his pace or something. Certainly didn't look that way today. He exploited that Burnley high line time after time, and they must have been fucking buzzing when he came off the pitch because it looked like he could have gotten himself 4 or 5 today. He really was sensational. I think if we're looking at kind of games like the Arsenal game, looking ahead to that, I think I'd want Sonny to be playing in that position. I do. Because I think the drop off to Richarlison from him versus the drop off from Son to Solomon in this, in the left hand side of the pitch is different. It's different, and I don't think it's quite as stark. I know we don't want to lose faith in Richarlison. We want to keep him on side, but at the same time, I think the team looked better without him there. And again, even when he came on in that second half, we'll talk about Richarlison now. When he came on in that second half, he came on with real kind of verve. He came on with a real kind of drive. You can tell he thought, there's a goal or two here for me. And then when it didn't go his way straight away again, it was the same dropped heads, walking about. He nearly got... he did get caught offside at one point because he just stayed up behind the defence and was just walking back again. It's not what I want to see. If he's frustrated, I get it. But for now, I'd rather see Son play up there and see the team score goals in the way it has today, because this team does create a lot of opportunities, and we can't operate on sentiment. Richarlison's been given a crack. He will be, continue to be given opportunities and chances. But I do feel that, I guess, with Brennan Johnson coming in as well, maybe Kulusevski goes over to the left. I don't think Johnson can play off the left, can he? I'm not sure. I'm not sure how we'd sort the team out, but with Johnson coming in, that's another kind of attacking winger to add to the mix. Maybe the temptation will be there to leave Son up top and keep Richarlison on the bench and have him as some type of impact player. Because, like I say, if you were to ask me right now, don't even have to think about Arsenal. Let's look at Sheffield United. Do I want Richarlison to, would I want him to get his place back at the top of the team and have Sonny drop down into the left? No, I don't. I want to see Son stay there because he was brilliant today. And, that's that. Oliver Skipp, I thought he was decent enough when he came on. And that's kind of Oliver Skipp, isn't it? Pierre Højbjerg, I think the drop-off when he came on was stark. I do find it quite strange that we are playing him right now at the moment. We brought him on before Skipp. I'm surprised that Skipp wasn't brought on immediately as the change for Sarr. And I say this given that we've just spent the past week or so trying to sell Pierre Højbjerg. It just feels a bit weird. I don't think there was anything kind of aberratively terrible about his performance today. I just thought it was a very Højbjergian performance, just not great. And I think our midfield immediately feels more disjointed. Look, there's a reason why the team stopped playing as well. We had scored 5 goals, so that's definitely a part of it. You can't pin that all on Højbjerg, but the team just didn't operate as smoothly as it did when he was there. And it's generally the way it is with him. He runs forwards, he shouts at other people to, fill in, and he just, I don't know. It's just, it's annoying that we didn't manage to ship him out, I think, because it feels all a bit done, doesn't it? Emerson Royale was actually oddly kind of slack when he came on, I thought. I thought he was okay, but there were a couple of moments where I was just watching him thinking that he's not paying attention properly. He's not really reading the game very well, which is surprising because I often think he's quite, defensively especially, quite steady, quite decent at what he does. But yeah, it wasn't, I don't think he was particularly great today, but he wasn't on for long, so whatever. Even Perisic, barely on for any time at all. There was some talk again that we were trying to get rid of him yesterday, at the end of the transfer window, which surprised me because I think he's been good. He's been great under Ange. He's been good ever since Conte went. But yeah, not much to report on him today, really. I didn't think so. But overall, 5-2. Going into the international break with a win like that, absolutely fantastic. So yeah, if you do enjoy the pod, please do, like, subscribe, share it, all that type of thing. Leave a rating, leave a review on your chosen podcast platform. I do have a Patreon now as well, patreon.com/RTRpod, where I do preview pods, do a Thursday bulletin, do a pod called the Robbie Keane Ultras. Latest episode of that has just dropped. Various different little things going on there. So yeah, thanks to everyone who has subscribed thus far, who is supporting the show. Really do appreciate it. If I understand that times are hard, so if you can't do that, no worries. I would just appreciate it. Like I say, if you could share the podcast, share it on Twitter, Reddit, wherever. Much appreciated, and yeah, I'll put these on YouTube now as well. There you go, these post-match pod things, so you can watch me talk if you don't want to listen to me talk. That's about it. Get on, you Spurs.